as an actor, I always come in so open and willing and devoted. I really think, you know, the intensity of the work and the relationship requires the devotion, and requires the ability to be malleable, yet to still speak up and not be sort of a doormat, but also adapt. So much of it is adapting because they're all different, and trying to come in there with what I do, which is I bring my emotions and my ideas, but then I'm in your world and I want to help create your world and I want to tell your story. Let's go. I'm a character actor. I was trained as a character actor. That's what I want to do. I believe in changing the way you look, the way you move, the way you speak. I'm not great at playing myself. So what really gives me the greatest satisfaction is changing into something else. And I just recently worked with Jane Campion again on Top of the Lake, and she's known me since I was 14, and we go on long walks together. And she said to me, she said, "You can do it." She said, "You can keep going. Just be bold. Keep choosing really bold statement characters because that's what you're best at." And I was like, oh, wow, okay. That's a particular form of advice, you know, and probably not the same advice she gives some other actress like Lizzie Moss. She probably says something different to. But that's what, and I listen to Jane. I've always listened to Jane. So I'm on a mission for bold statement characters. I grew up with parents that were, I had a biochemist father and a nurse mother, but they were academics, both of them. They wanted to have me follow in some sort of footsteps. They would have loved medicine. And I said, no, I want to act. And that was when I was, you know, knee-high to a grasshopper. So I think I define it as it's just part of my DNA. I have no one in the family that's an actor. I have no idea how it happened, but it's just always been there. And I would read plays, books, stories, everything. Like I would just absorb them from the age of about, you know, 7 or 8. And that's probably what I call it's in your blood. I was raised on pantomimes because we were in Australia, and I would see sort of the broadness of those pantomimes, but I would laugh and I would see the reaction of the audience. But I would also be able to get lost in characters when I would read a novel, and it was almost like I wanted to have that life. So in that sense, it was that ability to go, oh, I actually can have that life. If I read this book and it lasts long enough, I can exist as Natasha in War and Peace for a period of my time on this earth. I can now move over and, you know, I'd move into plays. I could be Nina in A Seagull, and I could be her. And that was what was so appealing, I think, because I was a gawky, you know, teenager. And it was my way of morphing into being somebody else. I've been unbelievably fortunate to have great mentors, older women in my life who have stepped up and mothered me at different times when I've needed it, and then directors who have just gone out on a limb to fight for me for a role when nobody else wanted me. Yeah, I've just had a lot of good fortune like that, and I give it back. I really try to give it back. I mean, I started going to drama school when I was 14, so I knew how to prepare text and things, and I'd done all sorts of mime classes and improvisational classes, so I'd done a lot. I'd sought out classes in, you know, the inner city of Sydney and places in warehouses. I just wanted a place to go. My school didn't really offer the arts, so I had to go and find it. So by the time I came to audition, I was so sort of free with that stuff, and I wanted to get it, but if I wasn't going to get it, I was like, I'm going to keep doing this. It doesn't matter if I get the role or not get it. I'm going to keep doing it. And I was lucky because I had people like Terry Hayes and George Miller and Phil Noyce John Digan, these people got behind me and believed in me and wrote roles for me. And Dead Calm actually was written for me. And at 19, that's kind of amazing. So my audition things were more when I was 14, 15, 16. I was auditioning for things, and some I'd get, some I wouldn't. But that's when I really met a lot of the big people in the Australian film industry at that time. And a lot of them just supported me. You know, there was Mel Gibson and there was Judy Davis, and they were in a generation above me. And then suddenly there was me, and they got behind me. I'm there to be molded. Do what you want with me. Change me, make me into something different. And I love that, you know, and so I really relish when a director goes, and Jane, you know, came along, she went, we're gonna have grey hair, you're gonna have freckles, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have teeth, you're gonna do this. I was like, yes. And even Photograph 51, which I did with Michael, he completely changed my structure, and Christopher did, and at first I think they were thinking I was going to balk at that, but I was like, no, please do what you need to do, and I'll do the rest from inside and physically, you know, how I walk and move and react to my environment. But I need all of that help. That boldness and the courage that you have and the bravery you have when you're first starting is the thing that, if you can keep it, gives you the most extraordinary opportunities in career. It's so easy to lose it because you get safe and scared and, you know, and lazy. But if I can stay in that place of bravery and hunger, then who knows where I'm going to go? And that's exciting to me. I don't want to know.